Hello students, today we will continue with the next part of carbohydrates. We were in deal with or we were studying the structure of polysaccharides. In that polysaccharides, in previous lecture we have completed the structure of starch. Starch is a polysaccharide which is constituted by two units. One is amylose and another is amylopectin. Amylose and amylopectin combined form starch. Further, here today we are going to study the structure of cellulose. The cellulose, you know, the cell wall of plants is made up of cellulose. The cellulose is a straight chain polysaccharide. It is a straight chain polysaccharide. Just before this part, we have seen amylose and amylopectin, which is the part of starch. Amylose is a linear polymer, but amylopectin is linear polymer with certain branches. Means amylose is linear polymer but amylopectin is a branched polymer. Here now this is the cellulose. The cellulose is straight chain polysaccharide. Poly means many, saccharide means sugar units. On hydrolysis, the cellulose gives a large number of monosaccharide units, hence it is polysaccharide. Why it is straight chain or it is called as straight chain? Because unlike amylopectin, here we do not show, or like amylopectin, here we do not see the branches to the linear chain. Since there are no branches in the structure of cellulose, it is called as straight chain polysaccharide, and this straight chain polysaccharide is made up of beta D glucose units. Means the cellulose is composed of a large number of beta D glucose units. You will see in the structure of this cellulose in details how the structure of beta D glucose units is there and how these beta D glucose units are joined to one another. In this cellulose, these beta D glucose units or large number of beta D glucose units are joined to one another by beta 1,4 glycoside linkage. There is question in examination. In cellulose, which glycosidic linkage is present? In cellulose, beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage is present, and by this linkage, a large number of beta D glucose units are linked to one another to form a polysaccharide chain. Again, I will repeat. Cellulose is a straight chain polysaccharide, and this straight chain polysaccharide is composed of a large number of beta D glucose units. These beta D glucose units are joined to one another by beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage that I will show you in structure. This beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage joins a large number of beta D glucose units and a polymeric structure is formed. That polymeric structure is straight chain polysaccharide, and the straight chain polysaccharide is nothing but cellulose. The cellulose is straight chain polysaccharide of beta D glucose. It has beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Further, this beta glycosidic linkage in this cellulose is strong and cannot be hydrolyzed easily. Here, chemical hydrolysis requires concentrated strong acids as well as high temperature and pressure. Means in order to hydrolyze cellulose, conditions required are concentrated strong acids as well as high temperature and pressure. By using these conditions, chemical hydrolysis of this cellulose is possible, and after hydrolysis this cellulose produces a large number of beta D glucose units. Means cellulose is composed of beta D glucose units, and cellulose on hydrolysis hence produces a large number of beta D glucose units. Further, since in order to break the beta-1,4 glycosidic linkage, concentrated strong acids, then high temperature and pressure, such conditions are needed. This beta-1,4 glycosidic bond is very strong. It is very strong and difficult to hydrolyze. ज्या अर्थी इथं आपल्याला स्ट्रॉंग कॉन्सन्ट्रेटेड ऍसिड्स वापरावे लागतात, हाय टेम्परेचर वापरावं लागतं, प्रेशर वापरावं लागतं beta-1,4 ग्लायकोसाइडिक लिंकेज ब्रेक करण्यासाठी. त्याचा सरळ सरळ अर्थ असा होतो की ते जे beta-1,4 ग्लायकोसाइडिक लिंकेज आहे ते हायड्रोलाइज करणं डिफिकल्ट आहे आणि ते सहजासहजी हायड्रोलाइज होत नाही. पण ते हायड्रोलाइज करण्यासाठी अशा कंडिशन्स वापराव्या लागतात. वापरल्या तर ते हायड्रोलाइज होतो. हेन्स इट इज डिफिकल्ट टू हायड्रोलाइज beta-1,4 glycosidic linkage present in cellulose. Hence human beings cannot digest cellulose. Further part they have given us, humans do not have enzymes that hydrolyze cellulose. Human beings do not have such enzyme which can hydrolyze this cellulose. Hence, human beings cannot digest cellulose. If human beings have the enzyme which can digest the cellulose, they can digest cellulose easily, and human beings thus can assimilate or digest cellulose. But if they have the enzyme which is necessary for digestion of the cellulose with them, but it is found that human beings do not have such enzyme which can digest the cellulose. Hence, they are given us that cellulose cannot be digested by human beings. Animals can digest cellulose. Animals can digest cellulose because they have the enzyme which digests the cellulose. There is basic difference in between human beings and other animals, that other animals have the enzyme which can digest cellulose, but human beings do not have such enzyme that can digest the cellulose. Hence, human beings cannot digest or assimilate or hydrolyze the cellulose. Hence, it is not useful directly for human beings. Further, in details, we are going to see the structure of cellulose. Just now I have told you, this cellulose on hydrolysis produces beta D glucose units. This beta D glucose unit is like this. Say this is the cyclic structure. In this cyclic structure, this is carbon number 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, and here is the carbon number 6. This carbon number 6 has OH group, and this carbon number 5 has attached one CH2OH group and other H. Carbon number 4 has here H, here is OH, here is OH, here is H, here OH, sorry H, here OH, here is OH, since sugar is beta type sugar. Beta D, glucose is the sugar, hence first carbon is the anomeric carbon. This first carbon is the anomeric carbon, means newly formed chiral carbon. This newly formed chiral carbon has OH on beta side. Newly formed chiral carbon has OH on beta side, hence this sugar is beta D glucose. This sugar is beta D glucose, but this cellulose is the polymer of beta D glucose units. Cellulose is a polymer of beta D glucose units, hence large number of such beta D units are joined to one another, and polymer, that is polysaccharide cellulose structure is formed. This is the first ring say of beta D glucose. In this first ring, this is carbon number 1. Of this carbon number 1, OH is on beta side, as it is beta D glucose. This carbon number 2 has OH on alpha side. Carbon number 3 has OH on beta side. Carbon number 4 has OH on alpha side. Carbon number 5 has CH2OH on beta side, and so on. This is the first ring or one ring of beta D glucose. Here, this first ring is joined to the second ring by beta 1,4 glycosidic link. Hence, in front of this ring number 1, I have written the second ring, that is the carbon number 4 has OH on alpha side. Carbon number 1 has OH on beta side. Now, OH of first carbon of first ring on beta side combines with OH of fourth carbon of second beta D glucose, and loss of water molecule takes place by forming beta 1,4 glycosidic link. Here, one beta D glucose is joined to another beta D glucose, which is further joined to one more beta D glucose, and such beta 1,4 glycosidic links are formed by combination of large number of such beta D glucose molecules. Cellulose is formed. This structure contains straight chain of beta D glucose units. Here are no any branches in the structure of cellulose. The structure of cellulose is the straight chain structure. It is not the branch chain structure. 3 points you are going to remember, that this cellulose is a straight chain polysaccharide. It is composed of a large number of beta D glucose units. These beta D glucose units are linked to one another by beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage, and this beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage is strong linkage. It requires for hydrolysis strong concentrated acids as well as high temperature and high pressure. Hence, this beta D glycosidic linkage is difficult to hydrolyze. Again, one more point you are supposed to keep in mind. Human beings do not have enzyme that can hydrolyze beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage present in cellulose. Hence, human beings cannot digest. Human beings cannot digest the cellulose. Further, in the structure of cellulose, we are going to see a large number of beta D glucose units are joined to one another by beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. In this beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage, OH of anomeric carbon, OH of anomeric carbon in one ring structure combines with OH of fourth carbon of another ring structure, and by combination of first and fourth carbon OH of adjacent rings, beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage is formed, and that beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage is difficult to hydrolyze. By combination of large number of such beta D glycosidic linkage, a straight chain or linear chain polymer, that is the polysaccharide cellulose, is formed. Further, one more polysaccharide they are given in our syllabus, not given details of that, but you should know this is the polysaccharide number 3, glycogen. This glycogen is the polysaccharide. This polysaccharide has similar structure to that of amylopectin. It has similar structure to that of amylopectin. We have seen amylose is a linear structure, but amylopectin is a branched structure having polymer. That branched structure having polymer has 1,6 glycosidic linkages as branches and 1,4 glycosidic linkages as a linear structure. In amylose, only linear structure is observed, but in amylopectin, linear structure is joined to one more linear structure by 1,6 glycosidic linkage. Hence, structure does not remain as linear structure, it becomes branched chain structure. Hence, amylose is linear polymer or straight chain polymer, but amylopectin is branched chain polymer, and structure of glycogen is similar to structure of amylopectin, but here you can see more highly branched structure is observed for glycogen. Glycogen has more highly branched chain structure. Thus, up till now, we have seen 3 polysaccharides or structures of 3 polysaccharides. First was starch. In that starch, we have seen structure of amylose and structure of amylopectin. After that, we have seen the structure of cellulose. In that cellulose structure, we have seen this structure is the linear or straight chain structure. It is composed of beta D glucose units and contains beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. There are no branches in structure of cellulose, but last structure is the structure of glycogen, and that glycogen structure is similar to the structure of amylopectin. Amylopectin has 1,6 branches or 1,6 glycosidic linkage as the branch. Here again you will see similar type of branches, but more branches are there. In case of glycogen, that is glycogen structure is highly branched structure. Now I will repeat or revise some part of this carbohydrate. Starting from the carbohydrate, we have seen definition of carbohydrate, then classification of carbohydrate by 3 ways. After that classification, we have seen details of glucose, which is aldohexose. We have seen all details of structure of glucose, that is open chain structure and cyclic structure of glucose. After that open chain and cyclic structure of glucose, we have seen the structure of fructose. Before structure of fructose, we have seen preparation of glucose from sucrose as well as starch. After this, we have seen the structure of fructose. These were the structures of monosaccharides. After this monosaccharide structures, we have seen structures of disaccharides. In that disaccharides, firstly we have seen the structure of sucrose. After the structure of sucrose, we have seen structure of maltose. And after that maltose, we have seen the structure of lactose. After these structures of disaccharides, we have seen the structures of polysaccharides. In that, first was the structure of starch. In that, we have seen the structure of amylose and then structure of amylopectin. After the structure of starch, we have seen the structure of now cellulose. Cellulose is unbranched or straight chain polymer. This cellulose is polymer of beta D glucose units. It contains beta 1,4 glycosidic linkages. And after that structure, we have seen the structure of glycogen. This glycogen structure is similar to structure of amylopectin, but more branches are there in structure of this glycogen. After this part of carbohydrates, now we are going to start with further part, new part, that is the proteins. Here we will start with the part proteins. Now I will go to the next part, that is proteins. In the topic biomolecules, we have to see 3 parts. One is carbohydrates, another is proteins, and next is, though these 3 parts are given, that is carbohydrates, proteins and nucleic acids, due to this COVID situation and decrease in the syllabus is possible, or few clues are obtained from the syllabus decreasing. In that, they have given us the only part, that is carbohydrate. In that carbohydrate, last part is deleted, that is disaccharide and polysaccharide structures are not included in the syllabus for this year only. Further, in the structure of proteins, they have given only initial part. Final part, that the structure of proteins, is not given in the syllabus for this year. And finally, nucleic acids, all this part is also removed from the syllabus only for this year. Whatever part given in proteins, we are going to see here is that these proteins, these are the fundamental structural material of animal bodies. You know, in 11th standard or in lower classes, you have seen balanced diet. For growth and development of our body, we need balanced diet. In that balanced diet, we should take appropriate quantity of carbohydrates, then proteins, then lipids or nucleic acids, whatever there these components are given, they should be present in our body, or they should get to us in appropriate proportion. Here proteins, they build our body, they build the muscles. Hence, proteins are fundamental structural material of animal bodies. Further, these proteins also act as enzymes. Some of the proteins act as enzymes, and in the form of enzymes, they catalyze many physiological reactions or physiological processes in our body. Whatever reactions or physiological reactions are taking place in our body, they are catalyzed by certain enzymes, and those enzymes are also proteins. These proteins, or the word protein, is obtained from Greek word. This word proteins is obtained from Greek word proteos. Greek word proteos. This proteos meaning primary or of prime importance. Proteos means primary or having prime importance, which has most importance for living organisms. Hence, it is primary or having prime importance. For the term primary or prime importance in Greek, proteos word is used, and from this proteos, proteins, this word has appeared. Further, these proteins are the nutritional source, or proteins occur in the nutritional source like milk, pulses, nuts, fish, and then meat. These are the sources from which we can get proteins. If we are interested in getting the proteins from different sources, that nutritional sources which give proteins to us are milk, then pulses, then nuts, then fish and meat, etc. These are few of the important sources which can give us protein for growth and development of our body. Hence, these are the nutritional sources of proteins. Further, chemically, these proteins are polyamides. Chemically, proteins are polyamide. You know, in previous topic, that is carboxylic acids, we have seen the term, or we have come across the term amides. Amides are the compounds having CONH linkage in their molecules. Amides are the compounds which have CONH linkage in their molecules. Such CONH linkage containing compounds are called as amides, and these proteins are polyamides. Means proteins contain a large number of these CONH linkages, CONH times. Hence, protein is called as polyamide, and these polyamides on hydrolysis, or proteins on hydrolysis, produce a large number of alpha amino acids. Proteins on hydrolysis produce a large number of alpha amino acids. Just now I have told you proteins contain CONH linkage, and the CONH linkage contains elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Proteins contain which of the following elements? Such type of question is also asked for CET. Proteins contain CONH or CHON, these elements, and out of these elements, nitrogen is the important element which constitutes about 14% of the protein. प्रोटीन मध्ये जवळपास 14% टक्के कोण असतं, नायट्रोजन असतो. तर प्रोटीन्स आर पॉलीअमाइड्स अँड they on hydrolysis produce a mixture of alpha amino acids. These proteins are high molecular weight polymers. Proteins are high molecular weight polymers, or they are high molecular weight polyamide polymers. Since they are polyamide polymers, on hydrolysis these proteins produce a large number of alpha amino acids. These alpha amino acids may be similar or may be different. If all the alpha amino acids produced after hydrolysis of protein are of one type, the protein is called as homopolymer. Protein is called as homopolymer. But if the different alpha amino acids are obtained, or mixture of alpha amino acids is obtained on hydrolysis of proteins, such type of protein is called as heteropolymer. Homo, hetero we have seen previously. In that manner you are supposed to keep in mind, protein on hydrolysis may give only one type of alpha amino acids or a mixture of alpha amino acids. Just now I have told you alpha amino acid. You know carboxylic acids contain COOH group. Carboxylic acids contain COOH group. The carbon attached to the carbonyl group or carboxylic acid group is called as alpha carbon. Hence COOH group is attached to this carbon. This carbon now is the alpha carbon. Since to this alpha carbon amino group is attached, it is called as alpha amino acid. Alpha amino acid. This alpha amino acid now I have written is like this: R, C, H, NH2 and COOH. It contains two functional groups. One is NH2, that is amino group, another is COOH, that is carboxylic acid group. But properties of this alpha amino acid are different than only amine or only carboxylic acid. It comes in the further part. I will explain it later on. Here you keep in mind, alpha amino acids are the compounds which contain amino group attached to the alpha carbon of carboxylic acid. Hence the name alpha amino acid. Here first alpha amino acid given is the glycine. Glycine is such type of alpha amino acid which do not contain chiral carbon atom. Here say this is H, I have written it separately. The alpha carbon in case of glycine, alpha carbon in case of glycine has three types of atoms or groups. One is NH2 group, another is COOH group, and next is two hydrogens. Alpha carbon here is not the chiral carbon, but instead of two hydrogens attached to alpha carbon, if one hydrogen is replaced by any other atom or group, that compound becomes chiral compound. Except this glycine, other alpha amino acids contain chiral carbon. Hence, these alpha amino acids are optically active, and optically active compound may occur in dextro form or Leu form. If it rotates the plane of PPL to right hand side, we call it as dextro, small d or plus sign. If it rotates the plane of PPL to left hand side, it is called as Leo, small l or minus sign. But here one more nomenclature is present as we see in carbohydrates, that is capital D and capital L. This capital D and capital L nomenclature they have given us is like this. See, the position of NH2 in the alpha amino acid. Position of NH2 in alpha amino acid if is on left hand side of the chiral carbon, or NH2 if is attached to the chiral carbon on left hand side, it is called as capital L. It is called as capital L. And if same NH2 group is present on right hand side, it becomes capital D. Capital D and capital L are the configurations. Here NH2 group if is present on left hand side of chiral carbon, it is called as L type amino acid, that is alpha amino acid, and if it is present on right hand side of the chiral carbon, it is called as D type alpha amino acid. These alpha amino acids are of various types depending upon nature of R. These are present in the alpha amino acid determines the type of alpha amino acid. These alpha amino acids are of three types. One is acidic alpha amino acid, another is basic alpha amino acid, and next one is neutral alpha amino acid. Here you are supposed to keep in mind in your book, firstly neutral alpha amino acids are given, then acidic alpha amino acid, and lastly basic alpha amino acid. I have written firstly as acidic. Acidic alpha amino acids are those which contain more acidic group in R part. या R part मध्ये जर जास्तीचा आपल्याला ऍसिडिक ग्रुप जर दिसला तर मूळच्या कंपाऊंड मध्ये अमिनो ऍसिड मध्ये NH2COH असणारच आहे. त्यामुळे एका साइड तो ग्रुप असल्यामुळे न्यूट्रल अल्फा अमिनो ऍसिड होतो. पण R पार्ट मध्ये जर ऍसिडिक ग्रुपची संख्या जास्तीची असेल तर that alpha amino acid becomes acidic alpha amino acid. There are two examples of acidic alpha amino acid you are supposed to keep in mind. One is aspartic acid and another is glutamic acid. Aspartic acid and glutamic acid are acidic alpha amino acids. Next is basic alpha amino acid. Basic alpha amino acids are those which contain basic group, that is primary amino group, secondary amino group or tertiary amino group in R part. In this R part, if basic group, maybe primary, secondary or tertiary amino group, if is present in R, that type of amino acid becomes basic amino acid or basic alpha amino acid. Here lysine and arginine are two basic alpha amino acids, and lastly neutral alpha amino acids. These are the alpha amino acids which contain only one basic group and only one acidic group in the given structure, that is the neutral alpha amino acid. Here examples are given: glycine, alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, and so on. In all, there are 20 alpha amino acids given in our book. Out of these 20 amino acids, two are acidic alpha amino acids. Then 3 are basic alpha amino acids. In basic alpha amino acids, one more compound is there, histidine. Histidine. 2 are acidic alpha amino acids, 3 are basic alpha amino acids, and remaining 15 are neutral alpha amino acids. But out of these 20, 10 are optically active alpha amino acids, that is, they contain chiral carbon atoms. Up till now, in this part of protein, we have seen what are proteins. Proteins are naturally occurring nitrogen containing polyamide polymers. Naturally occurring nitrogen containing polyamide polymers having high molecular weight. They on hydrolysis produce large number of alpha amino acids, similar or different. Further, these proteins are obtained from sources. These sources are milk, pulses, nuts, fishes and meat. These alpha amino acids are the different type of alpha amino acids, and these alpha amino acids are of 3 types. One is acidic, another is basic, third is neutral. I have given a brief idea about acidic, basic and neutral. We will revise it in next lecture. Today we will stop up to the types or classification of alpha amino acids.